Away from Texas.
Yes, sir. Watch you every single day. Nobody lays it down like Uncle Neely and the pregame show.
Neely, pregame show behind the scenes for everything. And why does he get that kind of access? Why does he get that kind of access? Because trust is involved. You would never get the kind of access you desire unless there's trust and relationship. You're trying to put you up on game.
When you're building a team, it's more than just athletic ability. Like, guys have to mesh with this culture and what's currently in the locker room. Talk about that process of going beyond just scouting talent, but scouting the person to make sure they fit.
So I look at our locker room like a pot of gumbo. And in gumbo, there's a bunch of different ingredients, but they all go together well. You got to find out who the kids are existing in your locker room and then what fits them. I had to spend some time with Shador to find out what really fits him. He and I had to hang out in my office, shut the door, he lay across the couch, and we rap a taste, and I really get to know who he is. Mm-hmm. But to that same effect, as we were recruiting in this portal cycle, since January, we were putting together a pot of gumbo that we knew that everybody would like. It fits all needs. And you had to know the pulse of your team, and then you also had to know the pulse of your coaching staff. I know who Coach Prime is. At the end of the day, I know exactly what he wants in that locker room, and the same thing. And then our staff sat down with our coaching staff. Tell us what you want in a quarterback after Shador. Tell us what you want in a receiver, what we want in a running back. And I think we identified those characteristics and traits and went out and got those kids. Mm-hmm. We got a really good locker room of kids. I like being around them.
The dynamic of recruiting, how has it evolved?
Well, I'm fortunate. I was a high school football coach for 10 years. Shout out to all the high school football coaches. Yeah, special place in my heart, because that's my foundation, that's my base. So for me, like the high school football coaches, that's the grassroots. So I look at it as fundamentally, who are these kids when they're 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders? Because by the time that they get here, they're starting to become young men. Mm-hmm. And they're still impressionable in high school. So I'm fortunate. I saw the maturation process, but these kids from when I was a high school football coach, bigger, faster, stronger. And I was a high school football coach last in 2016, 2015. And the game is sped up. It's more wide open. These kids are training at a different level. They're dedicated to the craft. But to that same effect, that's why they're getting paid now. So the expectation for them is a little bit different. Yeah. The expectation that you had for a lonely, broke 18-year-old that came in and was thankful just to have a scholarship, room, and board is a little bit different now when they come in and they have a contract and they have an agent. And yes, they're still 18 years old, mm-hmm. but they are also being paid. Yeah. I get paid to do a job, they getting paid to do a job, but they also getting a degree in the midst of doing their job. Mm-hmm. So yes, the expectation is different, but I look at them at their rawest and simplest forms. They still come in my office, Coach Corey, hey, this is what I got going on. Can you help me? Because they have not experienced enough life. Yeah. So the evolution was bound to happen. I'm glad it did, but to that same effect, they're still kids. And you still have to love on them and hug on them, and when they need to be kicked in their hind parts, you have to kick them in their hind parts. Yeah. It's still a part of the deal. That's what makes college football special, because there's a balance of them becoming future professionals in some shape, form, or fashion, but they still are maturing and have not did enough life to know what's most important. I think the first thing for us is to display it. Every chance I can, I bring CJ in the building, because I want them to see, one, be familiar with my son's face. So if they see him out in public, they see him somewhere he ain't got no business, call me, then grab him. Then two, I want them to see me not just as Coach Corey, but I want them to see me as Coach Corey, the dad. So they know when they get in a tight situation, they have somewhere to go. But I would say that for all of our coaches, our coaches' kids are in and around. I think our kids are getting to see us as more than coaches. They get to see us as fathers. They get to see us in a vulnerable state, because kids make you vulnerable.
Absolutely.
They make us vulnerable.
Kids will test you.
Who you tell?
Yeah.
And to the same effect, I think that's why our kids are getting closer, because they see us in a vulnerable state. And I think they also know that they really know the door is open, because they see our kids around. So it's not a pretentious situation.
Yeah.
They know they can walk in and coach, I need to holler at you. And that's also why I keep that football on the corner of my desk, because they know it's candy in there, and that seemed to be the great equalizer. Coach, let me get a handful of these hot chews and tell you what I got going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's therapeutic for us and them.
Absolutely.
Again, the game of football has a way of giving to you off and on the field.
Of course, since we first started chit-chatting like this, man, it feels like 5 years ago, but really about 18 months ago, you have always said it's about championships. It's about winning the national championship. And of course, on the path that starts with conference championship. We are back in the Big 12, and just over your shoulder is a Big 12 trophy, that was won. Talk about the constructs of this team and the belief in what it takes to get back to that Big 12 championship and beyond.
Championships are won when you have an elite quarterback. We got one. Let's not make any bones about it. Shedeur Sanders is who he says he is, who the world says he is. He may be a little bit better than advertised. I'll tell you a story about that later. To the same effect, I watched that kid last year struggle through first year in the offense, not as good of a running game or offensive line, all the first year things. I watched him struggle through and fight through and never place blame. So with that, I also watched him help us assemble this really, really good team that we have in the locker room. And I'm not just talking about the receivers, the offensive players. If I text him a kid, hey, I need you to text such and such, he did it. So I knew there was a level of buy-in there that if we just get it to the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left on the clock, I know the work that he's put in on and off the field to put us in a position to go win it. I've got the utmost confidence in not just him, the surrounding cast. There's a Travis Hunter, there's a Will Shepard, there's a LaJohntay Wester, there's a Jimmy Horn, there's a multitude, there's a Dallin Hayden, there's a multitude of kids that can go and get it done, because we went and surrounded him with enough weapons that he doesn't have to carry it all by himself. And I think we're going to be playing meaningful football in late November to give ourselves a chance to be playing that first weekend in December.
All right, Corey, talk to me about getting to this point, how you and your staff buy in to get us to where we are now.
Again, I go back to Coach Prime's vision. He wants to win and win now. So winning now says find the best, the brightest, and go get them. And that's what this staff collectively did, not just my department, our GAs, our QCs, our position coaches. Every kid that we identified collectively, we went out and got. And that's what makes this thing so magical, because we were surgical. In my opinion, we weren't reckless. We plotted out visits, the weekends that we wanted, the kids that we wanted, and we went out and got it. And that says a lot about who our staff was, because it takes a lot of lifting and a lot of communication to get to that point. And it was to see our kids now running, lifting, being around each other all the time, all those late nights and early mornings, it beyond gratifying.
To the families, the moms, the dads, and the players, and it's laid out the way it is.
Okay, let me say this without anybody in America trying to hire anybody off my team. I have the best in the business, period. Malika Slayton she's next level. Coaches say, hey, we have these kids coming on campus, and she enacts a plan. Hey, Corey, can I get you to do this? Alexis, can you do this? And she kind of, hey, Corey, what do you think about this? Her and I go back and forth, and I kind of let her spread her wings and do her thing. To that same effect, the kids that are coming on campus, our team finds out as much as they can and disseminates that information on a prime sheet to our staff. So when a kid comes on campus, we know who he is. And that's because there's a mindset amongst my department. It's not going to be because of me. And don't leave until the job is done. We've had some early mornings and some late nights. I know that they leave out of here some days and go, I'm so sick of him. But I think when they see the final product every day, when we see our kids, they go, yep, it was worth it. And that's what makes it special. Again, I can't say enough about the team of people that I work with. Alexis, she does a good job of whatever we need done in the moment, let's get her done. We've had some staff changes, and she's added on to her plate, and she's never once come in my office and say, I don't want to do this. It's, hey, I know you gave me this. What do I need to do with this? Hey, take it and run. Jordan, Devin, like the team of kids that we're recruiting now, that's not by happen chance. The 4 and 5 stars that we've had on campus, that we're going to have on campus, that's not by happen chance. That's because Devin and Jordan and Box do an unbelievable job of cultivating relationships with the best and the brightest. Now that Jordan, look, here go Malika calling now. now that Jordan is a buff, Jordan Seaton doesn't become a buff if Darius Box isn't on our staff. Yes, there was a multitude of people that helped recruit that kid. Jordan loves me unequivocally. But if Darius Box isn't who he is at his job, that doesn't happen. There was a collective effort, but he was bought in. Let's go get him. And once we got Jordan on campus, everybody knows once you come and visit us, it's on now, because we can show you everything that the world says that it's not.
Yeah, I've run the numbers. If you ever get, by the way, we're sitting in the recruitment lounge, which is not a coincidence.
No.
If you sit in this room with Coach Prime and Corey Phillips, there's a 90% sign rate. 92 exactly, but I'm just going to say 90. Says a lot about when you get here, what you see and the people you meet.
It's the people. Again, everybody's got facilities. Everybody's got weight rooms. You go in a weight room at Clemson, Ohio State, LSU, it doesn't matter. You pick up a 45-pound weight, it weighs 45 pounds. Mm-hmm. It's just coated in something different. Yeah. It's the people that make the place special. We've got unbelievable people. I can't harp on it enough. Is every day rose-colored? Of course not. If anybody says that they wake up every day and they're excited to go to work and they love all the people they work with every day, they're lying. Because greatness happens sometimes there's some turmoil that has to go through for you to get to the other side of greatness. We've gone through that. We went 4-8 last year. We watched ourselves lose 5 one-possession football games. Now we're living in the details. Hello, Buff Nation, we coming.